Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar. My name is Roshni and I'm extremely delighted to be the host for the evening and address you all. So firstly, let me thank all the attendees who gave us a great response on our last webinar and made it a huge hit. And I'll also like to welcome our attendees for this webinar. So I hope you will learn something interesting from our industry experts today. Now, before we move ahead, let me give you a brief about our company Progis. So let me share my screen. Now, 1 in 5 employees experience some form of malicious emailing every day, and 2/3 of them fall prey to the fraudsters. Imposters defrauds your customers, suppliers, and employees by spoofing your domain names. Now, the journey of Progis started in May 2017 by our founders Bhavin and Chaitanya. Our flagship product, Dmarc, was subsequently launched in November 2017. And by Jan 2020, Dmarc had already crossed the landmark of 200 customers across sectors. Profish, our employee awareness and simulation platform, was launched in June 2020. And within the span of a year, we managed to onboard 25 plus large brands, including some of the top banks. Now, by August 2021, Dmarc reached the milestone of protecting 400 brands across sectors, including small mid SMEs to large conglomerates. Now, this was a brief history of our company Progis. So moving on, now let's make this webinar a bit more interesting with the contests and prizes we have for you. Yes, you heard it right. We have an exciting contest on our LinkedIn page. So find all the answers to our crossword puzzle and comment it below the post. Now, we would choose the one who will find and comment the maximum numbers of hidden terms, and we will announce the winner in our next webinar. So don't worry if you're not lucky enough for this contest, we have another chance for you to be the lucky one, wherein we will select 3 lucky draw winners, which would be announced by our panelists by the end of this webinar. So don't forget, we also have a bumper prize for the one who attends all our webinars and participates in all our contests. So stay tuned and good luck. Now, if you also have any questions during the panel discussions, you can put that in the chat box, which is the Q&A sections. Now, without any further ado, I'll introduce you to our panelist. Now, our first panelist, who has 25 plus years of exclusive BFSI experience in information technology and IT security. He played a very significant role in early stage core banking inception in India. He was responsible for integration of service delivery channels like ATM, internet banking, NEFT, and RTGS during his time with IDBI. Currently, he is the CISO and DVP at SBI General Insurance. That is Mr. Prashant Dhanodkar. Let's have a virtual round of applause for Mr. Prashant Dhanodkar. Thank you so much for joining in, Mr. Prashant Dhanodkar.
Thanks, Roshni. Thanks.
Moving on to our second panelist, who has more than 2 decades of experience in cybersecurity and IT service delivery across industries like BFSI, HES, and telecommunication. Now, he has been in the list of top 100 CISO awards for the last 7 consecutive years, and he has been honored with the Cybersecurity Leader of the Year Award 2017 from NASSCOM DSCI. He has also been the CISO of the Year 2018 from Dynamic CISO Summit and Excellence Awards 2018. He is now the Group CISO at Bombay Stock Exchange, which is Mr. Shivkumar Pandey. Let's have a virtual round of applause for Mr. Shivkumar Pandey. Now, our next panelist is the Senior Vice President and CISO at Aegon Life, who has over 18 plus years of industry experience in cybersecurity and information technology across different industries. Now, he's a well-known personality in the cybersecurity industry within India and has been part of the cybersecurity domain for nearly 2 decades. Now, he had involved with India First Life, the fastest growing leading private insurance enterprise in India since 2009 for countrywide IT setup. That is Mr. Kiran Belsekar. Let's have a virtual round of applause for Mr. Kiran Belsekar. Thank you so much, Mr. Kiran Belsekar, for joining in.
Thank you, Roshni.
So last but not the least, our one and only Mr. Bhavan Bhansali. He has been the ex-deputy CISO and DGM of a leading bank with over 20 plus years of experience under his smile. And he's also the founder and CEO of Progis Solution, a very well-known personality in the cyber industry. So let's have a virtual round of applause for Mr. Bhavan Bhansali. Thank you so much. So now I'd like to hand over to Mr. Bhavan Bhansali, who will share his insights on this webinar. So over to you, Mr. Bhansali.
Thank you very much, Roshni, for the introduction. A very warm welcome to our esteemed panelists and the attendees. I hope you and your near ones are keeping safe. I'm so excited to host our second virtual panel discussion on the occasion of October Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So glad that we have been able to put together a panel of stalwarts from the Indian BFSI cybersecurity fraternity. They have immense knowledge in the field of payments, banking, insurance, telecom, stock markets, and are undisputedly the thought leaders in the cybersecurity field. They deserve a special round of applause even at this stage of the webinar, because I know for sure that they are extremely busy CISOs and their industry verticals are such that they are constantly under new business, customer and regulatory pressures. Not to mention, they face new risk challenges every single day, and in spite of such work pressures, they have been nice enough to share their invaluable time for this knowledge sharing session. Well, for the reference of the audience, when it is said that you have been pawned, it typically means that your account or device has been compromised and is under the control of a fraudster. A recent cybersecurity incident, which has been getting a lot of media attention, has been about an impersonation phishing attack, which used an email ID of a law enforcement officer for sending phishing mails to the citizens with allegedly a malware, which significantly compromised the victim's device and thereby the organization, which could have. This incident yet again underscores the need for deliberating this particular topic, that is how to not get pawned. Hence, the context of this webinar is not just restricted to the employees of the organization, but also customers, partners, and end users. So without any further delay, let me initiate the deliberation by seeking views from the panel on the fact that unknown methodologies in cyber attacks have grown tremendously during this pandemic. What is your suggested action plan for organizations and its employees to not get pawned? Kiran, would you like to go first?
Yeah, so am I audible, Bhavan?
Loud and clear, Kiran. Thanks.
Okay, so if you look at from the the pawning perspective, I think we have been, most of the organizations are battling with specifically around this, and we have been seeing that the one plan doesn't fits all. So we have to have in terms, if you look at the overall organization strengthening perspective or improving the posture perspective, I think one of the very important aspects is continuous visibility, looking at the overall threat posture or the threat vectors, which is very dynamic in the current scenario with all thanks to pandemic and the work from home or anywhere. I think there has been a large scale increase in terms of the overall threat landscape perspective. So I think one of the very important aspects is having a great visibility on the security posture. While saying all this, we also have the PPT framework. We normally talk about people, process, and technology perspective. And as usual, human being the one of the last leg in the entire ecosystem. While organization takes utmost care in terms of having world-class infrastructure and process perspective, but it is something human which is the last leg in the entire chain of the attack. So I think that is something which has been always been a weakest link at this point of time. I think keeping them aware, trained for battling with this is something which is very important.
Thanks, Kiran, for your wonderful response. Let me go over to Shiv. Shiv, your industry vertical is slightly unique because you are kind of a pseudo regulator, and you not only have to manage your own customers, you also have to manage your brokers, you also have to manage the customers at large. So, what is it that broadly an organization should do to not get any of these pawned?
See, I mean, so I don't think so. One solution is for that everything. So there are, like, you need to look upon all the three aspects, like people, process, and technology. So everything in all the aspect you should be complete. Just to tell you about the stock exchanges, where the if you talk about the CIA, availability is even very important, and it is supersede in CIA terms. If you talk about, just to tell you, every day we are getting more than 700 million orders, and our SLA is 6 microseconds per order. So you can understand the criticality and all. So you need to do the risk assessment on periodic interval to find out what are the risks are there, because cybersecurity is very dynamic in nature. Every 6 month risks are keep on changing, threats are keep on changing. So you should be up to date, and a continuous process. You require a 24/7, next generation. We call as a next generation SOC because we have deployed more than 50 niche technologies, including AL and ML in cybersecurity, and you name it. I mean, we have it because it is feasible for us because we are carrying such a huge platform. And lastly, I wanted to touch about the employees is again, the weakest link. So periodic interval of, cybersecurity training and awareness is become very important, and how you can automate this process. And not only automate, you do the lots of simulation stops, for aware them, how to tackle with this kind of cyber incident, or not only from, awareness, even reporting point of view also, it's become very important.
Excellent, Shiv. So nice to hear that we are in safe hands, especially our, the stocks that we carry. Thank you so much for sharing that. Over to you, Prashant. What is your take on this?
Shiv is a common stakeholder for all of us. Huh?
Completely agree.
Yeah, Bhavi.
So Prashant, what is your take on this particular thing? That how do you ensure that none of your employees or partners they get pawned? Any comments which are different than what Kiran and Shiv mentioned?
Okay, so we were discussing about this continuous awareness, and ideally it is good to say that yes, there should be a continuous awareness program, and every organization, not that one organization is doing great, that everyone is doing, every CISO is doing, or they are putting their efforts for this continuous education awareness. And then on 24th March 2020, you find yourself into a very difficult situation that the entire organization is at home, and you are not adequately, what I can say, you are not adequately factored that everyone will work from home. Then it's a big challenge for everyone, employees, your customers, your vendors. So, and that actually work from home actually it diminished all borders basically, and then this threat of getting pawned or getting attacked become absolutely significant. So in my opinion, you need a technical controls, because see, awareness at one point of time, the employee or it will become a monotonous approach, correct? So this has to be backed up by adequate technical controls also, Bhavin, because this sort of working culture, that is work from home or remote working, have put a lot of stress on the human, on an employee or a human being per se. You are confined to room, and then you are handling office pressure, you are handling other pandemic related pressure, someone is not keeping well in your family. So whether you have a space to take awareness, additional awareness on the cyber security. So apart from this continuous efforts, I feel there should be some technical controls will help you in this to ensure that yes, you are not get pawned.
Yeah, I think I completely resonate with your thoughts as well, because the fact is that cybersecurity is a defense in depth concept. And I feel that wherever possible, the technical controls should be implemented. And still, whatever best an organization would do, there will be certain things which will still percolate into the systems, for which obviously an vigilant employee could be of help. But wherever possible, technical controls is something which definitely should be looked at, including the way you do your awareness as well. So I think that brings us to a very interesting question. That do you think that employees currently are sufficiently being trained, or are they being overtrained, or are they equipped enough to handle threats that might have evaded the perimeter security controls? And as I mentioned, whatever controls you put in, there would be one fine email which would hit the mailbox of your CEO, and the CEO would come back to you, to the CISO, and say, hey, what is this? What's happening? So is there something like a best-in-class awareness that you can conduct, or it is nothing like that? You have to do it on a continuous basis. Your views. Shiv, you like to go first?
See, employee awareness is there. It is because of there are so many incidents are happening. Media is there now, and things right now, name it. I mean, most of the thing is digitized today. And we are living right now in completely digital environment. So the people awareness is anyway coming from the your social, social, your media and everything. So basic awareness is there. If you're coming to the employee awareness, you go, because awareness is also required a more depth. So if you require a more depth, that is a continuously process. And you said, wherever you require a technology for 100% accuracy and other stuff. And apart from that, putting a punitive action on the employees, if you are repeating the things, those things become very important. So you require a centralized process system. You need to put the system where everybody has to be, call and inform us, this is what it is happened. So it is a continuous journey, I can say.
Sure. Kiran, what is your take on whether employees are being sufficiently trained?
So I do agree with Shiv to an extent, I would say, but largely in reality, CISOs are primarily also responsible for prevention of the attacks, detecting them, and largely we have to depend on the automation of security controls. While the employee awareness trainings are important, but the focus should largely also should rely upon the detection and the automation layer of the security. Like even if the employees are aware of the security mechanisms, but in terms of having a centralized system to track the red flags, in terms of the phishing emails or any kind of reportings of security incident, I think that is something which is also required and needs to get matured as we move forward. I'm sure this last 18 months people have seen, and cybersecurity was largely every day people have been seeing around some or the other brand into the news, I think. So that is the sensitization is already there. Somehow this has also helped in the entire pandemic has helped to change the culture, the way people used to work. I think now people have understood the privacy, understood the security perspective, and the kind of impact which it would create on a brand as well. I think that is something which the pandemic has also taught.
Thanks, Kiran, for your view.
So
Prashant,
adequate balance is to be struck for this awareness and controls. It means both have to be a continuous process. Controls also you should keep upgrading, and awareness also you have to upgrade the content. I'll say as and when the threat landscape is changing. That's why I said, whatever awareness we were imparting. So this pandemic brought a altogether different angle to that. Correct. So the adequate balance is to be struck between the control and awareness.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Very valid view. In fact, when we talk about employee awareness, one reason why organizations invest so much in employee awareness is for the fact that they would want that one good, smart, vigilant employee or a threat alert that can save the day for the organization. Right. So, what do you think? Is it really important for us to depend on our employees to report an incident? Is it really needed? And if so, what is the most efficient and effective way of incident reporting for the employees? I mean, how do you suggest and how do you do it in your organizations? Shiv, you want to go first?
So incident reporting is very important, and we just to tell you, we have a clear-cut policy for letdown, for incident reporting and all. First, it should be a centralized process where all employees should be aware, for any kind of malicious mail or cyber incident or digital fraud where they need to report it. So this one is the awareness, and second is that doing this kind of the exercise to find out how effective it is there in your organization. Like do the phishing exercise, phishing, smishing, wishing. You talk about the red team exercise. To find not only find out whether your employees are reporting this kind of incident in your centralized system or not. Even your SOC effectiveness also, whether whatever the tools we have deployed it, whether they are working properly or not, your SOC engineers are properly or not. And third is the policy is also matters a very lot. Punitive action, अरे ये तो चलता है, मतलब नहीं भी किया तो चलता है. So we have a clearly punitive action because we are a national critical infrastructure, and you can understand that. So if you are repeating twice, this much penalty is there. Third time if you do it, your appraisal will be not done for this financial year. So punitive action has to be there. This is not an intention to do something, but at least nowadays in digital environment, cyber incident reporting has become very important, and this entire SOC process, how you can automate, that's will also become very important in the incident reporting. Because third aspect is like incident, some of the integration of the big technology, you name it, like anti-APT solution, your firewall, your NAC solution, your antivirus, all should be integrated in such a way that if any malicious activities also happen, your remote end location is isolated and automatically incident is logged in your incident management system. So complete process is also automated where human intervention is not required. So that kind of incident reporting has also become very important. So there are many factors, but yes, it is very important.
No, excellent views. I mean, great to know the kind of maturity which is there in an organization which is of a critical sector area. So nice to know about that as well. Thank you, Shiv, for your views. Prashant, your take on this? On incident reporting by employees?
Yeah, coming to incident reporting. So all of us know that there is a very famous ISACA question you will find in all exam, that one organization is reporting 500 incidents and another organization is reporting 10 incidents in a year. Which one is more secure? So obviously the organization with 500 incidents is more secure. So if you have to measure the effectiveness of incident reporting, Bhavin, I feel there are two aspects. First, employees should be trained, or your customer should be trained in identifying what is an incident. Correct? Means if you see a spam mail coming in and a genuine phishing mail coming in, there is a difference. So first, the incident is to be identified, so that some preliminary awareness has to be there. And second aspect is age of reporting. If that age of incident reporting is not there for our end user, the purpose will get defeated. So I feel as an organization or as an infosec function, we have to focus on two aspects if we have to really make this incident reporting as a very effective tool. One is identification of incident, and the age of reporting. Age of reporting could be as simple as some tab on your intranet portal or a plugin into your email client. Correct? You can report this email, or through portal you can report some, I have received this phishing email and all. So these two aspects should be focused for actually deriving the effectiveness from incident reporting.
Thanks, Prashant. Wonderful perspective, a different perspective. Thank you so much. Kiran, your take on incident reporting?
Yeah, sure. So I'll take 2 points. Primarily, I'll not repeat what Shiv and Prashant said. These are absolutely much required. But I think if you look at the overall awareness and training of information security perspective is becoming quite monotonous. So you need to gamify for the employees. You need to have certain innovations coming across it, because now people are working from anywhere. You're never going to have a classroom workshops the way you used to traditionally do. So there has to be a gamification or certain, which is an exciting factor for them to do it. And absolutely, we all understand why and how much necessary it is. The second aspect is, while we all do this, we are training all employees in the organization, but you need to have champion. You need to have a champion from each and every department who is actually closely watching. So whether that champion can also be an operational risk champion or a cyber risk champion, or these responsibilities can be combined together to achieve it, and there can be a specific KPIs around it. I think these are some additional factors which can enable to really make a good difference in this.
Very, very valid views, Kiran. Thank you so much. So moving on, while I think we've spoken enough on employee awareness, which is one of the key security controls in an organization, Dmarc email authentication is emerging as a wonderful tool in the artillery of an organization for blocking spoofed emails. Now, for the benefit of the audience who may not know what exactly Dmarc means and why leading organizations like yours, regulators and governmental bodies in India and abroad are implementing and recommending Dmarc. In fact, Gartner also recommends that Demark should be a top security project in 2021. So, can someone explain in a very simple way? Because when we talk as product experts, we sometimes complicate things. So, can someone explain what Demark would mean to an organization and how it should be reviewed in a simple way? Kiran, you want to go first again?
Yeah, so I think Demarc in a simplified way disallows fraudsters from spoofing your email domain and a brand protection perspective. It provides control and governance over our email ecosystem, including who sends the email on our behalf. It also improves the reputation of your mail setup, thereby increasing the deliverability. And basically, that actually makes when the organizations are doing the targeted marketing, this thing. I think this is from a business perspective. It is very important aspect where it catches more of the eyeballs, and it ensures that emails are not going into a spam. They are directly reaching the inbox as well of the customers or the prospects.
Excellent. I mean, yeah, you put it very simply. Shiv, your take on this subject? And what is Demarc for you?
I think we have also implemented a Demarc in our organization. It's a fantastic, and as Kiran rightly said, it's protecting your disallowing the fraudsters from spoofing your email and domain and protecting your brand. So I think Demarc is really important nowadays.
Excellent. Thanks, Shiv. Prashant, in your organization, what has been the business driver for Demarc, and how would you put it simply?
Yeah, so as Kiran has said, I approached my business and said, okay, how many campaigns you are running, and how many leads are getting converted? What is the reachability of it? Then yes, from that was a trigger for a Demarc implementation, I would say, because you have to explain business the problem in their language. So I said, if you are running 10 campaigns in a year and most of the emails are going in a junk box, the reachability is the issue, concern. So from there, the Demarc journey started, and referring to your original question of how to put it in a simple language. So that was one for internal selling, reachability to the customer or effectiveness of campaigns, and then spoofing the domain or spoofing email ID. So we explained that any remains a very easiest attack vector. Correct. With email, you can reach almost anyone. And this phishing has got two parts. Means one is hosting a malicious site, and then second is sending malicious email to divert the user to that malicious site. Correct. So with this Demarc, you will cut the second part of it. You cannot completely eliminate hosting of a malicious site, but sending a malicious mail misrepresenting your domain or your organization, that can be completely taken care of by Demarc. So this is a value proposition implementation of Demarc will bring to the organization.
Excellent views. Thank you all for this. My last question before we get into the rapid fire section, it's kind of a surprise for many of you. But one last question before we get into that. Do you think the areas which we spoke about would prevent losses for an organization? And is there a way to quantify any of these investments which we spoke about?
Shall I go?
Please, Kiran. Sorry.
Okay. So instead of saying that the solutions can prevent losses, we can say that they can bring profit to your company. And if you look at a bigger picture around the year, the cost of implementing these solutions like Dmarc or even having a phishing simulation exercise or a training solutions, I think these are quite cheaper compared to the revenue loss the organization may suffer from any kind of email spoofing or a breach or email pawning perspective. I think that's my take.
Thanks, Kiran, for that. Shiv, you have some views on that?
No, I am agree with Kiran. I think absolutely, and yes, it is required. And anyway, organization like us, we are ready to protect from any kind of this kind of threat from, and ready to invest also. And so, yeah, absolutely, it is required.
Excellent. Thanks, Shiv. How about you, Prashant? What do you think about this? Yeah.
Instead of putting it in a loss or a profit sort of terminology, basically you are arresting a cost of incident. If there is a brand abuse incident, if there is a ransomware incident coming because of this phishing emails and all, so you are arresting a cost that may incur on that incident. And it will help if the reachability is improved to the customer. It is definitely going to help in enhancing your top lines.
So Bhavin, it's like for them it is a continuous action to hack for hackers. It is so they will try maybe millions of times, and one good attempt is okay for us. It is a 24/7 365 days continuously you need to protect. One incident you got. So you are trying, to install each and everything where, wherever is possible as per your organization and business requirement, how you can protect, because today everything is happening on the digital platform.
Excellent. I mean, very, very interesting. As it is said that, you need to plan for the worst and hope for the best, right? So I guess that is how risk management is all about. Thank you so much for these wonderful views. Now, this is a section which I have introduced. I mean, it is my creation in terms of how do we explain some of these concepts in a very, very quick way, and whether it becomes very easy for the audience to understand. So I thought, for the first time, let me give it a shot by creating some rapid questions for which the answers can be just one word, or it could be a line or two if you want to explain the concept as well. So are you all ready for that? I wouldn't take much, maybe 5 or 6 questions for each of you. There are no prizes or no losses in case your answer is incorrect, which is highly unlikely, the kind of experience that you all have. So let me start with Shiv. Are you ready, Shiv? Can I go for it?
Yeah.
So the first question, the first rapid fire question goes like this. A leading customer facing organization with large set of vendors and partners is witnessing mails being sent out from their customer service mail ID, but not from their authorized mail servers. What security controls should they implement?
So undoubtedly, it's a Dmarc. So it would not only give them a visibility of email frauds, but also help them to mitigate them.
Excellent. Perfect. The second question goes like this. Can wrong Demark implementation break your time critical business mails? Because I know for sure that for BSC, sending out these statements is of prime importance, and it has to be time bound. So I thought I should pose this question to you for sure. Do you think a wrong Demark implementation can break your time critical business mails?
Yes, it can, but take the right precaution during the learning phase. So it involves experts like third party also, where we can use the Pro Dmarc solution also.
Excellent, I agree. What's the most common method for delivering payload or a malware in your experience?
There are many, but majorly it is through emails only. So implement multiple layer control for this channel.
Excellent. Last two questions for you. Employee awareness is underrated, and why do you suggest it is like that?
See, most organizations think data is most precious, but forget to guard that one who carries the data. So,
excellent response. Thank you. And the last question for you: how often should you consider conducting an awareness exercise for your employees, and which is the most effective method?
see, it's as I said earlier, also it's an ongoing process, right from onboarding to exit. So they're like from induction programs, surprise them through mail-based phishing mail attacks, phishing simulation testing and all, and also find out the effectiveness of the same. So these all the combination of all.
Excellent response. I think Shiv, you did very well. It's a 100% scoring, which if I had to give you, I would definitely do that. Moving on, Kiran, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So I know that you are quite a Demark enthusiast, and you keep a very strong, vigilant view of what's happening on Demark in your organization. So I'm going to ask you some technical questions. Can Demark help email deliverability?
Absolutely. In fact, the new Demarc standard BME can also help and increase the open rate of emails, which is a great benefit, which I was saying from the CEO vertical or from the marketing vertical as well.
I completely agree. BME is going to change things a lot. It's not just going to be a cybersecurity investment. It would become a CEO investment for sure. Completely agree. Can Demark be considered a digital brand protection initiative?
Oh yes, in fact, this is the way we started the initiative. In fact, from the Demarc perspective, so it will hold the digital brand of the uphold the digital brand of the company. It gives the assurance to the stakeholders that they would never receive a spoofed email with your company's domain.
Excellent answer. I'm getting more technical now. Is SPF and DKIM both a must for a successful Demarc implementation?
Ideally, yes. But if it is not possible to implement both, attempt DKIM, since it is the most reliable than the SPF.
Excellent answer. Thank you. Can Demarc be implemented without a Demarc platform like Pro Demarc?
Yes, it can, but would suggest that it would be left to the hands of the expert. It can put your business emails to a high risk. I think, Shiv, just you the same question in terms of deliverability or impact perspective. So it's best to put it in the hands of the expert rather than getting into and or taking any chances around it.
Yeah, thanks.
Platform will provide you a measurability. Otherwise, how will you measure?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a very, very valid point. Thanks, Prashant, for adding that. Kiran, one last question for you, for which you can give me a political response. Is it fine to seek credentials from an employee if a critical task is held up during a leave period?
Absolutely no. Absolutely no. This would put yourself and the organizations to a greater risk. Plan a backup personnel for every key activity, I would say.
Wonderful response, Kiran. Thank you. So, Kiran, with that, I think you have scored flying colors. You have cleared this particular thing with, again, a 100% score. Thank you so much for that. Over to you, Prashant. Are you ready?
If required, I will use a lifeline, phone a friend. I will call you.
You certainly have two of them here. So Prashant, would Demarc implementation in none mode? I again know that you are very, very sound from a Demarc perspective. So I'm asking you this very specific question. Would Demarc implementation in none mode provide the required mail domain spoofing security?
Definitely not, Bhavin, because putting it in a none mode means it is learning. Only your antennas are up, but your firing barrel is still down, right? So putting it in a none mode will not provide you only protection. It is the first phase of a journey. So you have started learning who is doing the mischief actually.
Very, very well put, because there is this misconception in a lot of people's mind that Demarc means the moment I put it in the none mode, I am protected and my brand is protected. So a very, very correct answer. Thank you so much. The next one. Would a fraudulent mail which originates from, say, Nigeria, with the companies get blocked at the recipient mail server once Demarc is enforced?
Definitely, that is where I am earning my salary. So a cost of one incident is saved. Yes, it will get blocked it will get rejected once you have that Demarc policy in place. So that's why Demarc is needed.
Excellent response. What is the best approach to educate a new joinee who does not understand technology or cybersecurity?
Then I would say take him to some real life scenario, do some simulations, real life simulations.
Excellent. Which is the fastest way for an employee to report a phishing incident? I think you answered this, but
correct. No, means it should be simple. Ease of doing this should be there for the end user. You can put on some plugin into your email client, or you give some option on the intranet site, which is frequently used. So plugin is the most simplest way of doing it.
Excellent, excellent. In fact, the next question, Kiran did talk about this a bit, but let me ask you this question. Should an organization appoint an employee as a designated information security awareness expert, or a third-party trusted information security and a risk advisor is needed?
Yes, again, I will go by Kiran. I will copy his answer that you have to have some champions. Means that will provide you an adequate mix, having some identified champions within each team, and then putting some controls. So this will give you appropriate results. It's very difficult to hire someone only for this purpose. So it has to be mix and match then.
Perfect, Prashant. With that,
just to add, security is always going to be outnumbered.
Yes.
In any organization. So and it's a team sport. Definitely not on CISO. Always you will see your CISO function is going to be there. So it's going to be a team sport.
Very well put. Very well put. I think with that, Prashant, even you did very well. You didn't need a lifeline, because probably you are a lifeline for many, I'm sure. So thank you so much for this wonderful rapid fire. Pardon me for taking you guys through this. Really sorry for that. But I'm sure it would have helped the audience. It would have clarified a lot of things in a very, very perfect way. So with that, we are running out of time. But before we conclude, we have few more other areas to cover. One, a vote of thanks for our wonderful panelists. Second, announcement of the lucky draw winners. and 3, announcement of the winner of the last week contest by our panelist. So please join me in thanking our panelists for taking their time out of such busy schedules of theirs and sharing with us their perspective on this wonderful occasion of the Cybersecurity Awareness Month. A round of applause for all of them. I would also like to thank all the attendees for their patient hearing and participation. Last but not the least, would like to compliment our project team members, including Vinisha, Roshni, Kunal, Vinay, Paranjeet, and Joshua for the effort that they've put in to make this webinar a success. Thank you very much, Kiran, Shiv, and Prashant. Any closing comments from your side?
No, it was very good, and thanks for the same.
Thanks, Bhavan, for getting us on this panel.
Thank you,
thanks.
Prashant.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prashant.
Wonderful 1 hour spent. Thanks for that.
Thank you so much for sparing your time as well. It was wonderful. With that, we conclude the session. But before that, a few more announcements on the prizes, and I would request the panelists to wait just for a few more minutes to announce the winners. Roshni, over to you, please.
Thank you, Mr. Bhavan Bhansali. So thank you to all our panelists for sharing in their knowledge and tips on how to not get pawned. So now is the moment you all have been waiting for. We will be announcing 3 lucky draw winners. So I'll share my screen once again. Just bear with me. Yes. So I would like Mr. Kiran Belsekar to announce the first lucky draw winner, which will be shown on the screen. So the first lucky draw winner would be
Vivek Daria. Congratulations, Vivek.
Great, Mr. Vivek Dharia, you're the first lucky draw winner. And Mr. Shivkumar Pandey, I would like you to announce the second lucky draw winner. That would be
Subin.
Great. Let's have a round of applause for Subin for being the second lucky draw winner. Now, Mr. Prashant Dhanodkar, I would like you to announce the third lucky draw winner. That would be.
And the Oscar goes to Debashish.
Yeah. So the Oscar goes to Debashish. Let's have a round of applause for Debashish. Now, I would also like Mr. Bhavan Bhansali to announce the winner for the previous week's contest. So the winner for the previous week's contest is
Rajan Arora.
Great. Let's have a round of applause for Mr. Rajan Arora. He is the winner for the previous contest. And right now, many, many congratulations to all our winners. We will get in touch with you shortly to get your prizes shipped. Please bear with me. Yeah. So the dates of our next webinar will be announced soon on our social media panels. And that's all for today. Thank you to everyone who made this webinar a reality. It could not have been possible without the sheer contribution of you all. So we hope to see you again in our next webinar with the same host. So bye everyone and have a very good evening ahead and a happy Dasara to all. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kiran.
Good evening. Happy Dasara.